In 1986, fresh off the success of their very first film, Blood Simple, the Coen brothers presented Warner Brothers a script called Suburbicon, and in a classic Hollywood case, they bought the script without producing it. And yet, for some reason, they produced Crime Wave instead. Years later, after finding the script and proving through their lawyers that it was in fact theirs, they offered George Clooney the chance to provide his own creative vision to it. So he and his writing partner Grant Heslov gave some rewrites, changed the era to 1957, and, as a result, the Coen brothers gave him the opportunity to direct it. And how does it fare out? Hi, I'm Tyler, and I'm here to let you know that Suburbicon is no perfect movie. So Suburbicon takes place in 1957 and revolves around a man named Gardner, played by Matt Damon, and his sister-in-law, played by Julianne Moore, who both get involved in an insurance scam that involves the recent death of his wife. But things immediately go wrong when his son Nicky discovers what they're up to, and when the other members of the insurance scam start hunting them down for the money. George Clooney, aside from being a charming actor, has proven to be a good director in the past. But here, he has trouble balancing the line between a dark comedy and an intense thriller, because for starters, this movie's not very funny. Most of the scenes that are meant to be comedic just feature a lot of awkward pauses between actors that are drawn out that I guess are supposed to be funny because they have no idea what to say in the moment, but it doesn't feel funny. It just feels awkward and nothing much else. If they're not willing to say anything, why would these scenes even be in the movie? There is a scene that literally, I'm not even kidding, from beginning to end, goes like this. Yeah. I just want you to know, yeah, I'm here for you. Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, I'm really glad we had this talk. And I just sat there and I'm like, are you serious? Why would you waste our time with a scene that really doesn't serve any purpose? Now, when it's supposed to be intense and a thriller, sometimes it does work thanks to the certain camera angles that Clooney picks. Like, there's one scene where the main kid peeps through a door and he sees an intruder in the house, and then for the rest of the scene, we see it from the perspective of him hiding under the bed. That scene works because of how claustrophobic the perspective is. But once again, scenes like that are severely affected by the editing, where either there's not enough build-up to really get you invested, or once it's about to get interesting, the conflict is resolved too shortly for it to be impactful. Matt Damon and Julianne Moore technically are giving good performances, and it is nice to see them portray more sinister characters. Moore feels as if she's been living under the shadow of her sister her entire life, and once she dies, she begins to take control of her nephew, supposedly in the same way that her sister would have controlled her son, and she even dyes her hair to resemble her sister. And Damon is slowly revealed throughout the movie just to be manipulative and self-centered and willing to sacrifice anyone as part of his plan. And you really start to love to hate that kind of character. He reminded me of Lester from The Fargo show. But the problem is, while we know what their motivation is and why they're doing it, there's nothing really built up at the beginning of the movie to support that motivation. Supposedly it was because Damon didn't like his wife and Moore was so envious of her, but the wife's only in it for 2 scenes, and in those scenes there's nothing to indicate that Damon didn't like her or that Moore was jealous of her. If anything, those scenes kind of indicated that she was perfect for both of them. But the biggest problem for me is that this movie doesn't even know what it wants to be. For starters, the trailers make it seem as if Damon is an innocent man who, after a home invasion, becomes darker and more flawed as time goes by, which I'm just going to tell you right now, that's not what this movie's about. The movie is really about Damon going through with a crime and getting in over his head as time goes by. But there's also, and I had no idea that this was even going to happen, there's a subplot involving a black family that moves into the neighborhood, and this is literally the very first scene in the movie. And I think, okay, this is going to be an integral part to the story, right? Nope. This family is only featured after something dark and intense happens in the main story. Like, right after Damon kills somebody, it immediately cuts to a riot that happens in front of this black family's house. And I get the message about how people are focusing on the wrong things that are incorrect with society and that the world is full of misinformation. Thematically, the message does tie into the main story. But the thing is, we don't know anything about this family other than they just want to get along with everybody. And that's it. We don't know what their life was like before they moved into the neighborhood, whether or not they'll move out after what just happened. And for some people, this is going to be enough information for you to go along with the story. But for me, it's too simplistic. It doesn't explain why people were against integration. Suburbicon could have been much better than it really was. I mean, there are some well-directed moments. It's got good production design. The actors do a good job with what they're given. And there are some interesting themes that are being portrayed. The problem is the script doesn't know which themes to focus on more, and the editing, once again, either cuts things too short to leave an impact, or doesn't build up enough in order to leave something memorable. And for that reason, I'm going to give Suburbicon a 2 out of 5. Guys, thanks as always for watching, and what did you think of Suburbicon? Did you like it? Did you think there was more they could have done with it? Whatever you think, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, check out my other reviews at NoPerfectMovie.com. And once again, thank you all very much for watching. Take care.